Okay, class, in this video, it's going to be a short video, but I'm going to go over organizational units. An organizational unit is just a container that allows us to store users and computers. We could put groups in it, but it doesn't make sense, and I'll explain why. But first, I want to go over OU design. So we can also link GPOs to OU, but we can't to other type of containers. So if I look here, I can see a little icon on this container for domain users. That's an OU, but this user is just a container. I can't apply policies to these type of containers, only organizational units. By default, you can't create um, regular containers. All you can do is create organizational units. And I say that by default because there are special tools that you can use called ADSI that allows you to edit your Active Directory database raw. And so that way we can create normal containers. But normally using this utility, you can only create OUs. OUs allows you to store users and computers in them. We can apply policies to them and we can delegate control to them. So let's go back to OU design. I have two OU designs here, and this is going to be on D2L for you to look at. They look really similar. We have a Broward.edu, we have a central campus, an English department underneath this central campus, then we have a staff and a faculty. And same thing for the math department. Then we have that duplicate structure under North Campus. This is one philosophy on designing OUs, the layout. You're going to have one OU and another. So if I wanted to put a policy here that affects everyone in this English department, I have that ability. I don't want to create a policy up here, and at that point, everyone would have to read that policy when it really only applies to the English department. So it prevents every user that signs in from having to read that policy if I apply it right here. So here's another OU design where I have an English department, and on the English department, I have a central campus with the staff and the faculty. Under the English department, I have a North campus with staff and faculty. So one of these is wrong and one of these is right for BC. Because what you want to do is you want to design your OU structure to match your organization, the way you think of an organization. It's hard to have an OU structure then change it later. It's better to design it properly when you first lay out the network. So I can tell you that this is the right one and this is the wrong one, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't have one administrator for the English department that covers both North and Central Campus. We have a dean for the English department on Central Campus, and that dean answers to the provost on Central Campus. We have a dean for the English department on North Campus that answers to the provost on North Campus. In this kind of layout, the provost would actually answer to the English department for both North and Central. So because we don't have an administrative structure that matches this, this is the wrong way to lay out the OU. So every organization would be different. Maybe in Miami-Dade, they have one English department dean that covers all the campuses. In that case, this would be correct. But for us, we have two different administrative structures for the English department. One on North Campus has no relationship to the English department on Central Campus. If this English department decides to do something a certain way, it doesn't really affect this English department. So I'm going to lay out that OU structure. So I'm going to create a new OU for Central Campus. And this prevents it from actually accidentally being deleted. If you have an OU with 2,000 user accounts and you delete that OU, you've deleted those 2,000 user accounts. So by default, they don't want you to accidentally delete it. If I try to delete it, it gives me a problem. For me to actually delete that, I would have to go to View, Advanced Features. Let me show it to you beforehand. I'm going to look at Central Campus and go to Properties. And I only have 3 tabs. Now I'm going to go to Advanced Features, go to Central Campus and go to Properties. I have a lot more tabs. Then under the Object tab, I have this uncheck box that I can uncheck that will allow me to delete it. So I have to go through several steps before I can accidentally delete an OU. So there's our Central Campus. We'll create another one. For North Campus. And you can see that this is very time consuming. I'm getting a text. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so I think to create OUs graphically is too much work. So what we're going to do it in PowerShell. So I'm going to say new ADOU organizational unit. The name is going to be English department. And the path is OU equals Central Campus, comma, DC equals Contoso, comma, DC equals com. I'll explain that in a moment. That's called distinguish name format. So it basically means if I look at here, it'll be Central Campus, OU equals Central Campus, comma, DC equals Contoso, comma, DC equals com. If I highlight this and go to View Advanced Features, and I right click it and go to Properties, I'm going to go to Attribute Editor. There's the distinguished name format. OU equals Central Campus, comma, DC equal Contoso, comma, DC equal com. So when I go and put an OU inside of there, that's where I want to place it. So let's go and double check that that worked. So now if I expand, I see an English department. Do I have one at North Campus? No. So now what I can do is just hit the up arrow and change this to North Campus. Hit the up arrow twice. Change this to Math Department. Twice again. So I've created an English department in Central, an English department in North, an English department on Central, and a Math department on Central and a Math department on North. And going back to our diagram, each of those departments have a staff and a faculty. So I'm going to do so in the English department OU, I want to create a staff. OU. So let's look at that. So I'm going to highlight my domain, hit refresh. So Central Department, I have an English and Math. Oh, I did it North Campus first. There's my staff OU. I have English and Math in both campuses. So let's do this for the Math department. Let's do it for Central Campus. Let's do one in the English department. Oh, sorry. I forgot to change it to Central. So I created a staff in English department on North, a staff in the English department on Math department on North, a staff for the Math department on Central, and a staff for the English department on Central. So let's do we're going to do a faculty for all four OUs. So faculty for English Central, a faculty for Math Central, a faculty for Math on North, and English on North. So I'm going to hit refresh. So I have an English department with a faculty and staff, a math department with a faculty and staff for Central, and I have a English department with faculty and staff on North, and a math department with faculty and staff on North. Guys, I think it takes too long to do it graphically. You're more than welcome to do it, but I do want you to go through the process of creating all these OUs just so you can enjoy my pain. Um, so now that we have those, let's see what we can do. So I'm going to create an OU, I'm going to create a new user called user 10. U10. Going to set the password. Now, my goal is I want user 10 to be able to handle Central Campus. I want him to be able to join workstations to the domain. I want that user account to be able to create user accounts, reset passwords. Essentially, I want him to be the domain admin for Central Campus, but I don't want to give him domain rights. So right now, user 10 is just a member of the domain users group. So that's really all the permission he really needs to do what I need to do. So guys, I have advanced features checked. Back in the day, if we wanted to do this, we would have to right click here, go to properties, under security, and say add and give that user account full control. But for some reason in 2016, it didn't work properly, especially when you were dealing with WDS and SCCM. So I don't really show that method anymore, but really what we're doing is security permissions. You can see right now that U10 doesn't have, it isn't listed there on that list. Now, if I get rid of the advanced features you can't even see that tab anymore. They hide it from you. So we're going to do it the official Microsoft way. I'm going to highlight Central Campus. I'm going to say new. No, I'm not. I'm going to go delegate control, and we get this wizard. Click next. I'm going to just type in U10. I'm going to create a custom task. I could do this. I could say create, delete, manage users, create, delete, manage groups. Um, I just don't want to give them full control, just to keep it simple. But if you want to go through and do something like this, you could do this. I could give someone just the ability to link policies to the OU. But I'm going to do custom control, um, no changes here. Then I'm just going to check full control. So he essentially has full control over that OU. So if I go back and check advanced features and go into properties, under the security tab, I can see user 10 has full control now. Guys, it's weird, but if you check full control here, it doesn't work the same. So I don't know what the issue is. So try to avoid this method. But I just want to show you what we're actually changing. So I'm going to hide that. Okay, so now uh, we're going to test it out. I'm going to go to, I can't have U10 sign into a DC. If you're not a domain admin, you can't sign into a DC. So I had to have him sign into some other machine that's not a domain controller. So I'm going to go to DFS. Now this could be his Windows 10 work machine, his workstation. I'm going to sign in as other user, U10. Now, if I was on Windows 10, I would need to install something called RSAT tools. You go to add remove programs, optional features, and then you can add those RSAT tools. RSAT stands for Remote Server Administration. And there's instructions on how to do that all over the place. Okay, so this is what I would do for Windows 10. I'm going to change my resolution here. Now keep in mind that this user is not a local administrator for this machine. This user can't even install software on this machine. So if the user went to tools, there is no Active Directory users in computers. It just doesn't exist now. So if I try to go to, I don't know what this is, add roles and features, I might be able to install a feature. I'll see. I don't want to install a role. I don't want to install Active Directory on this machine. I just want the tools to manage Active Directory. So I'm going to go down to features, RSAT, R-S-A-T. I can install all the Active Directory tools and PowerShell modules. What else can I install? I think that's all I need right now. Next, restart if needed. But I couldn't install a role. If I try to install a role, I would get denied. I'm going to pause the video while this is installing. No, it denied me because I'm not signed in as domain admin. So I'm just going to log out. This user can't even shut down this machine. I'm going to sign in as a domain admin and install the RSAT tools. I'm going to install the tools that user 10 needs to do his job. Manage, add roles and features. I got to wait till the bar goes away. Go all the way down to features. I'm going to do it on this machine, DFS1. Because I added both machines to the server manager, I can install on either machine. I'm going to do it to DFS1. But I go to features, scroll down to RSAT, and I'm going to install all the Active Directory tools. I'm going to pause. Okay, it's done installing. You can see that it installed these snap-ins right here. I'll get to that in a moment. So any PowerShell command that we need to create user accounts and things like that, they're installed on this machine. But we did install Active Directory, just the tools to manage it. So I can see that I have these tools here now. I also can do this for user 10. I can open up MMC. I don't know why I can't launch anything from this menu. I'm just going to, sorry, I'm signing in as the wrong user. So now that it's installed, I'm going to log out and sign back in as Windows 10, as user 10. I'm just going to do run and do mmc.exe. This is the Microsoft Management Console. Now when I do add remove snap-ins, I have the Active Directory snap-ins. So you could do the Active Directory users and computers and the group policy object. No, I forgot to install the group policy manager. But so I'm just going to add Active Directory users and computers. File, save as. I'm going to put it in the desktop. I'm going to call it user 10 console. So it's right there. Anytime the user needs to do it, do anything, he can go here. You can have all the tools that he uses under one console. So we go down to Contoso, and let's do something that's going to fail. Let's try to add a new faculty member to the English department on North Campus. I don't have it. I don't have new. Let's try to add a new user under user. I don't have new. I can't do it. But under Central Campus, I can say new user Tim Jones. T Jones. So user 10 is able to do stuff like that. So essentially I'm taking a non-privileged user, a tech guy at Central Campus, essentially making him the domain admin of Central Campus. Anything he needs to do, he'll be able to do. So I'm going to go over, and he can do this right from his Windows 10 desktop. You can even install the server manager on Windows 10. So he can have all of this available to him as well. So he can see the status of any servers that he manages. Um, so I'm going to go over to my DC. I'm going to sign back in. I'm going to go to Tools, Group Policy Management. So right now, here's my English department. So if Tim needed to apply something to everyone in the English department, he can link it an existing GPO. If he only wanted the staff to get that policy, he can link it right here. If he wanted to have everyone on Central Campus, he can link it right here. So if I have an OU called faculty and Tim Jones was in that group, in that OU, I'm going to create a group here. Sorry. Just a global group. I'm just going to call it some group. I'm going to create another one. I'm going to make Tim a member of both those groups. So if I look at Tim now, I can see he is a member of the domain admins group, the domain users group, another group, and some group. So if you put a policy here, it will apply to all users and computers. So what if I did this? I'm going to move some group to the English faculty OU under Central, and another group, I'm going to move that to North English faculty. So if I created a group policy that turns your desktop to green, a green background, and I linked it here, and I created another policy that made your background blue and linked it here, which one would Tim get? I'm going to hit refresh. Did I not move that? Oh, no, sorry. So this is another group under English faculty in North, and this is some group. Now, Tim's a member of both. So if I had a policy linked here that turns your desktop green, and I had a policy here and turns your desktop blue, which one would Tim get? Let's even do this. I'm going to move this user account to users. So he's a member of this group. He's a member of this group. And the user's down here. And I have a policy linked here and a policy linked here. Which policy would he get? Green or blue? In this scenario, neither of them. Because policies don't follow groups. Because a user can be in multiple groups. If you nest a group inside of an OU and apply a policy to it, those users won't get that policy. The users in that group won't get that policy because it would be too hard to determine what policy a user gets if policies followed groups. There's no reason to have a group, in my opinion, in any other container other than users. Because if you put a policy inside of an OU, if you put a group inside of an OU, someone's going to think that all the users in that group will get the policies applied to that OU. It just doesn't work. So what I like to do, especially if you have a lot of new techs that don't understand AD very well, is always keep the groups inside of the user's container. Putting the groups inside the group container is possibly a way to, first off, manipulate those groups, allow other people to make changes to the group membership when you might not want it, but it might give people the impression that you can apply a policy to an OU and users in the group will get it. It doesn't work that way. If I want a user to get a policy that's linked to this OU, I need to put that user account in that OU. Because I can't put a user account in multiple OUs, it'll be a very clear-cut way to determine what policies he's going to get. He's going to get the policies attached to this OU, to this OU, to this OU, then to the um, domain. So he'll get domain first will apply. These policies will apply. It might override these. These policies would apply. It might override some higher ones up. And then finally, these policies would apply. And when I do the group policy OU, we're going to go over this again in more detail. So the only reason why I would ever put a group inside of an OU is if I want user 10 to manage that group in its entirety. So that would be a legitimate reason to put a group in here. But then users really need to understand at that point that no policies are applying to the groups. I could put a group here, in the staff OU, and have users from the faculty OU in it. That doesn't mean they're going to get the staff OU's policies. They're only going to get the policies in the OU structure that they're in. Faculty, English department, central campus, then the domain. So if you put them in a group that's in another OU structure, it has no bearing on the policies. Okay, so guys, there's not much to say about um, OUs. I mean, other than what I did. I talked about groups a little bit, but I generally like to keep the discussion of OUs and groups separate because people think a group is an OU. You could put users in it and then you can apply policies to it. You can't. Groups are for security permissions. OUs are for controlling the users that are in that OU and the computer accounts because I can create computer accounts in here as well. Uh, uh, I meant to be fake. Okay, and so you can create computer accounts as well. So if so, U10 a delegated control from the central campus for the central campus OU. So U10 can control these accounts. Computers have accounts just like user accounts do. When a computer boots up, it signs into the domain just like your user account does. The difference is Active Directory will manage the password. We have to manage the password for user accounts on our own. There's really, it has nothing to do with groups. Okay, so OUs and groups, every book puts them in the same chapter, and I think it always confuses people. When I do this video, I'm trying to separate that. Groups are for security permissions, OUs are for controlling and group policies. Sorry guys, I just sneezed and I muted it in the time. But that's it for this video. There's not a lot to do. Create those OUs, create a user called U10 in the user container. Notice that U10 is not in that container. So U10 can't control his own account. Um, Delegate control for the central campus to U10. Create a simple user account. We're going to use we're going to use this OU structure in the next video for group policies. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.